Hello. Okay. I wanted to jump on here and make another sit down video because it's going to be a little while before I get our next tutorial done. Only reason is I have to wait until Wednesday the 29th of this month to get more yarn in because I just didn't have enough to finish. And where I got the yarn from, which was again Expression Fiber Arts, I started this project with one of her yarns because, well, it was the perfect size, and it's one of my birthstone colors, the pearl, and so I thought it was the perfect item to use, and to use the yarn for. I thought I had enough. It looks like I'm gonna be at least one hank short, so I did pick up two hanks of a similar color. But unfortunately, it's coming all the way from the east coast of the U.S. There's a huge storm over there, like a winter storm. So it's taking, even though I paid extra for expedited shipping so I can get this video out, it's still not going to be here until Wednesday the 29th. Everybody's doing their best, so I'm not fussing and complaining. I just want everybody to be okay. Like, I don't want anybody to hurt themselves getting me yarn. So I thought I would make a video. That way you guys know I am working in the background. We can hang out a little bit. Of course, I love making videos, and I hate it whenever I can't upload. So here is a little bit of what the next tutorial is going to be. It is not a shawl or a poncho. It's not a scarf. It's going to be something very cool. It's not a blanket either. It is going to be a wearable, and I would say one that is very, very easily adapted to any size. I love patterns like that where you don't have to think about it too much. And let me show you where I am on the news blanket. It's really, I love the colors that is starting to take place here. This is awesome. We did have a good news day. This is today's, kind of a non-news day in a way. This is yesterday's, was a good news day here in the U.S. because the people of Western North Carolina finally got to sleep indoors yesterday. Many of them, I should say, for the first time since September. They have been living in tents and poorly insulated RVs that were donated to them. And it's 20 degrees or colder out there right now. And especially with this snowstorm coming in, you know, a lot of them were kicked out into the cold just a few days before. By the government agency that was tasked to not let that happen. They let it happen. Whole families kicked out into the freezing cold. So I thought it was a good day that they finally have semi-permanent housing right now, not just hotels, apartments where you can feel like you belong somewhere. So a lot of people I have seen on the internet say, why don't they just move? These were already impoverished communities. They lost everything, including their jobs, because everything is gone. All their little villages and hamlets and towns were wiped out. There's nowhere for them to go to work. Bank account is tapped bone dry. There's no roads, no bridges, and their homes are completely gone. And these are people who probably, you know, many of them probably on food stamps and stuff. These are people of very limited means. How are they supposed to just up and move to, especially to move from a house where you didn't have to pay any rent, to move to a house where you have to pay exorbitant rent because the surrounding towns aren't towns, they're cities, and cities are expensive. So people, too many people heartlessly saying, why didn't they just move? How can you move whenever you can't? So it's good to see that they have been rescued from their situation. And what else have I been doing? Where are you? Here you are. Okay, so with the new red yarn, and just a moment, let me get that pattern. So as some of you may remember, this yarn here, this red that I used to make the shawl with, this is the yarn I was using to make this, my first knitted tank top. I was using this red because I want a red tank top. I just think that the color looks good on my skin tone. But unfortunately, this was too thin, so I was doubling it up, and it started to feel really heavy. So then I went back onto Expression Fiber Arts, and I picked up this red. This is called Red Velvet Rose. It is pearlescent worsted, so it's the right size right off the bat, no doubling up. 50% superwash merino wool and 50% mulberry silk. And just look at that color. And so I am knitting that tank top here's how that's coming along. This is the back, and I have a little pin right here to mark the front, and it's gonna fit just fine. You know, at first I thought I was gonna have to make the extra large to compensate for this thinner yarn, but nope, now it's working fine. I do wear a size large, and this is working out great. It's gonna be so cute. I'm so excited. So I've been working on this a little bit, and I'm almost done with one whole hank, getting ready to cake up another one. Oh, I added some new colors to the news blanket. You might notice there's like an orangey kind of color here, and then there's like a lavender here. Now this gold, you're probably not going to see the shimmer very well. This is a gold yarn with a gold lame carried with it. This is for historical notable events, and this was the inauguration here. I think for wholesome news days, I'm gonna have to switch to a powdery pink that I have, because the yellow and the gold are way too similar, and I like using the gold for historical events. This coral color here, which is this color right here, it is called Coral. And this is gonna be for interesting news days. So I am trying to keep my opinion out of this blanket. Whether I think it's a good day, bad day, doesn't matter. If it is something, I'm trying to view this through the eyes of somebody who maybe is living in a different time period or living in a different country. And how would they view the news that's happening here? They might view it as just simply being interesting. So I decided to call days that are have a little more going on than the non-news days, just simply interesting news days. I'm keeping my biases, my personal opinions about it completely out of the equation. So we have interesting news days. The lavender is goofy news days. Somebody came up with the idea of you got to have something for just those dumb news days. And you're absolutely right. So I decided lavender would look really good with this colorway. And this is the day that TikTok went down for 12 hours. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not laughing at anybody's peril, because I know that there are a lot of people who genuinely make an income on TikTok. But let's be real, the majority of users are people who either just vent on there or dance. And they literally freaked out for 12 hours, acting like it is the end of the world that TikTok is down. And in hindsight, I thought that was just kind of a goofy news day. So many of you also mentioned that if you were to do every 3 months, you would have 600 stitches just to do one day. That's unbelievable. No, it's believable, but I'm not doing that. So many of you were like, you should probably just do it monthly. There's just like one, pat a month. And so, did I say pat? Why did I say pat? One circle a month. So I'm almost done with January. And you're right. So I'm going to make 12 of these, and I'm going to stitch them 3 wide and 6 tall. I think that's 12. Either way, that's what I'm going to do. So this is how the first month is almost done, and this is how it's going. And I love the fact that whenever you start a new month, it really doesn't take much to work a day. It isn't until, I guess, right around here, it really starts to take a little bit more time to get through a whole day worth of news, or to be able to do that day's news. But it's really not that bad. This is a much better idea than doing long rows back and forth, because if you're going to do a temperature blanket, you can't just do 100 stitches wide. You can't even do 200 stitches wide, because you're just going to have a strip of material after 365 days. You really have to go 300-400 stitches wide to make it a short rectangle, so that it's more like a blanket and not just a hallway rug, because that's what you'll wind up making if you go too narrow with 365 rows. Yeah. So I think this is a great alternative, and you just stitch them all together on their flat edges, and on these flat edges here, and I think it's going to work out really well. Let's see. Well, I guess you can stitch them at the points and stitch them at the flats, and then just put a border around them. I think it's going to be cool. I can't wait. So January is almost done. The French, I've been working 1, 2, 3 and 4 of these are now done, and one of these is now done, and I have started another one and I got burnt. So I'm done working on this for a little while. I wasn't kidding whenever I said this is a time-consuming but worthy of making project. So there is that. So tonight I'm actually going to continue. I'm going to continue to work on this. As of this point now, there's no real rush. This is more than half empty. There's no real rush because I don't even have any more yarn coming until the 29th, and hopefully it will be here on the 29th. You know, these people are doing what they can, but so there's not the biggest rush on this. So I'm going to work on this for a little while tonight. It is going to be an all-nighter for me. I'm going to continue to knit on this tank top tonight, and yeah, I ruined my hours again. Whenever I was doing the poncho, the stripy poncho thing that I made, I did an all-nighter, and I wound up editing until, well, I thought it was 2 in the morning, and then my son's 7:30 a.m. medication alarm went off, and I'm like, it is not 7:30. I wasn't even done editing, so I couldn't even put the video out that morning. I had to wait till the next day. Oh, what a mess. I got some new books in too. Oof, 5 more Weldon's pattern books from the 1800s. Volume 6, volume 11, volume 2, so these are not in order, volume 2, volume 7, and volume 10. A lot of the patterns that are in here are also in my Weldon's practical crochet book that I work out of quite a bit, but excuse me, tongue-tied, but there's also a bunch of patterns in here that are not in that book, and there's some knitting in here and some macrame. I really want to learn how to do macrame, but yeah, there's some stuff in here that's not in that book because that other book is focused solely 100% on crochet. Well, we've got some patterns in here that are crochet that are not in that other Weldon's book I work out of quite a bit, that gift I received. Some of these are, like these are in that book. Oh, I put a tag over this because I thought that was beautiful. It's a tulip, rattle, and whistle combined. I guess you have to buy the wooden whistle thing and you just crochet this tulip. I thought that was pretty. I thought that would be pretty cool to check out. Yeah, so we've got some patterns in here that don't exist in that other book. That's a pretty cool looking stitch. Double crochet and long raised treble stitches. That's a pretty fun looking stitch. So we've just got some really cool stuff in here. I also bought something because I intend on making a complete 1800s outfit. And I say 1800s because it's going to be pieced out from the 1840s to the 1890s. But from a Etsy shop from Eastern Europe, about 2 months ago, I ordered a lobster tail cage bustle, which is appropriate for about the 1800s into the early 1900s, before the bustles shrink down to mostly just a pillow that you tie around your waist. And it's going to go on the mannequin. And so as I continue to make patterns out of books like this, I'm going to be able to add it to complete an outfit from the 1800s. That cost me a little bit of a pretty penny, but I think in the long run, it'll be a worthy investment. There's some really great patterns in here. This is knitting, of course. And I've got 5 books of it. Remember when I put up that post? Hey, I just bought a whole bunch of books. Somebody come take this credit card away from me. This is what I was buying. Oh, you'll recognize some of these. Yeah, some of these are in that other main book that I received as a gift. So you are going to recognize some of them. But there's some really great stuff in each book. So that's the news. Tune in next week. So yeah, something else I've been kind of playing around with. I guess I'm just talking now for the sake of talking. So you remember I bought 2 packs of this cotton webbing, right, for the poncho that you wrap the belt around. I bought too much. So now I have a lifetime supply of bookmarks. I just cut a piece off and pull on the string and to let it fluff up a bit. And then I take a lighter and keep that part from fraying, and boom, bookmarks for the rest of my life. So I mean, honestly, I guess that kind of is the news. There really isn't much more to share. I am going to be making this longer than it looks in the pattern. Whenever you have a belly, you don't really want to wear something that comes right to your belt line. You really want to bring it down to about right here. The elongation of a top creates the illusion that you have a longer torso. It makes things look a little more stretched out and a little less focused on the trouble area. So especially if you're wearing a different colored pants and a different colored top, it almost creates a circle that says stare right here while I'm talking to you, please. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to knit my top a bit longer. I guess that's it. Yeah, I added a couple of new colors to the news blanket because it needed to be more interesting than mostly non-news days, especially since the election. There haven't been any non-news days. It's all been news days. But I am keeping my opinions out of the blanket, so they are simply interesting news days. I love the idea of the goofy news days as well. And of course, using the pink instead of yellow because of the gold for wholesome news days, which I don't think we're going to have many wholesome. I'm going to have to go looking on purpose for wholesome news just to throw some pink in here and there. The garage blanket has taken a back seat. I've only added 2 more rows to it because I've been working on other things like this. This is, you guys, I think you guys are really going to like this whenever I'm all done with it. Wait till you see this. I'm looking in this mirror right here so I can see how well it's in frame. I think you guys are really going to like this whenever you see it. And I think it's going to be, it's one of those kind of universally flattering pieces. I think it's going to look good on everyone that makes one for themselves. And like I said, the best part is you can make it to fit you as you're making it without a problem. It's going to be so fun. Okay, well, that is the quick catch up as to what I have been doing. I don't have anything else to show you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I did get some new makeup in, but that's for the other channel. I will show off just a little bit because James, my son James, if you all watch the other channel, you know, we had a pretty big health scare with James. He started having seizures this year, or this year is still new. So in 2024, he started having grand mal seizures, and not just like one, but he would have them in groups. Like they just wouldn't stop. Like in a 24-hour period, he had 8. And then at one point we took him miniature golfing a couple of months later. He was really feeling better. And so we took him miniature golfing, and he had, I don't know, 3 or I don't remember. It was a lot in 20 minutes. And he stopped breathing, and it was really, really scary. So that would be the James I am speaking about. Of course, I get into more detail about all of that went on in some videos over on my other channel called Everyday Karina. You will find a link for that channel down below. But James, he knows Mama is a little bit of a makeup girly, and this is a bunch of eyeshadows. Look at this, every color you could possibly want. I'm looking in a mirror so I can see how I'm being framed. Look at this. How sweet is that? Oh my goodness, I love that kid. For more than just makeup. But I guess I do need to make another video over on that channel. It's been almost 2 months, or maybe at about 2 months since I put a video out, and it's mostly just because I've been nonstop crocheting. I have missed making videos over there, and I have been picking up these little palettes and stuff and playing with some new makeup, and you know, I need to just do an update video over there too, because I have information. Of course, this is going to mean anything to any of you, but to those who watch over there, I do have updated information on the green canceling stuff. And so, yeah, I need to make a video for over there. So anyways, check out my other channel if you're interested in hanging out with me, just doing stuff like this, playing with my makeup, talking, and just whatever. I do a lot of that over there. It's sort of a junk drawer channel. There's a little bit of everything in there. Okay, guys, well, I love you lots. Thanks for hanging out with me and catching up on me with what I'm doing nonstop behind the scenes. Let me know what you think, how the news blanket, that's the back of it, how the news blanket is coming along. What do you think? And are you even more inspired now than ever to try it? And should we turn this into a thing? So we've got temperature blankets, mood blankets, and news blankets. Should we do that? Okay, guys. And don't forget, if you want more of me, which I think is cool, you can find me over on Everyday Karina. Link is in the description box below the little dotted line. Okay, guys, I love you lots, and I'll see you in February, early February. Bye.